Hello, I'm going to be talking to you about my ideal school. We're going to start with the design. Now, this is just a rough layout. It obviously would be bigger than this, but I just want you to get the idea that a courtyard is really important to me in my ideal school, as well as an outdoor classroom, windows, and my school should be in a rural area. For the courtyard, I think it's really important that teachers and students have a place where they can go to get outside if it's nice out. I'm a big fan of taking my kids outside for independent reading when it's really nice out. It's just a setting change and they just love it. And I really would, in my ideal school, love to give teachers that option. An outdoor classroom can be used for all grades for science and then also some raised beds, which I'll talk to you in a second. And this might sound weird, but windows are really important to me. I truly believe that a classroom should never ever be four walls of cinder block. Sorry, I thought someone was going to come in. Four walls of cinder block. I think it's really important for the mental health of teachers and students to have natural light in the classroom. And a rural area because I would really love a partnership with a farm. I think that would be really great for the schools. So I'll talk to you about that in a second. So let's talk about the environment. The outdoor classroom for me would have raised garden beds, compost, a partnership with the cafeteria backpack program, and a partnership with a nearby farm. So let's talk about each one of those things. I actually, in my school, have just applied for some raised garden beds from the CCIU, and they give you the wood and the seeds, and the only thing that you need to do is provide the soil. And I think that it's a really, really great way to get kids involved in the production of food, to see where their food comes from, and to also get a little bit dirty and to have some active learning. Compost. We were lucky enough to have some compost tumblers donated to us, and they're in our courtyard right now. And I started a compost program. So I created a compost bin that goes in the cafeteria, and I provided some education on the student or to the students about what goes in the compost bin and what never goes in the compost bin. And they put their food scraps in that compost bin, and then I have a few students that then take it to the compost tumbler at the end of lunch. So the kids' food scraps are actually going back into compost for their garden, which is a really great cycle. Once the vegetables start growing in the raised garden beds, you can have a partnership with the cafeteria where those vegetables are then used in the students' meals. At French Creek, we have a backpack program where a few kids get food sent home with them every week in a backpack, and then those fresh vegetables can also be incorporated in that. French Creek is also lucky enough to have a farm right next door. Sorry, that was my door. A partnership right next door. We have a farm right next door, and I am looking into having a partnership with that farm for Earth Day activities and also for my garden club. So, as you can hear from me talking, a lot of my environment and design for my ideal school comes from the school that I work at. French Creek Elementary really is everything that I ever wanted in a school, environment and design wise. These are pictures from my classroom windows. So we have, the cows. Sometimes we can see them from the farm next door, and then the sunrise. And that also goes along with the windows. That's why it's just so important to me for my mental health. And I just really believe for kids' mental health, this is just so beautiful. And here's some pictures of my kids reading outside. So let's talk about curriculum now. It would be a project-based learning curriculum, so that's connecting education to the real world, and it will be aligned to state standards. Project-based learning is awesome because it develops problem-solving skills, collaboration, and perseverance. If students are ever asking the question in your classroom, why are we learning this? Then in my opinion, I'm not doing my job because my students should always have a purpose for learning and understand why we are learning something. Growth mindset would be incorporated in my ideal school curriculum, which is integrating the power of yet into the classroom. I would require a growth mindset class at least once per week, but I would also offer PD for teachers so that they really understand the language that should be used for a growth mindset and how to incorporate the growth mindset into their curriculum. Mental health is super important, even for elementary. In the younger grades, that could look like meditation and yoga and mindfulness. But as the grades progress, teach more in depth about mental health. And you could even require it in the morning meeting. Morning meeting. So let's talk about that. It would be a requirement, and PD would be dedicated to aid teachers in the implementation and content. And this is especially for older grades. And studies have shown that this can be transformational in schools. It sets the tone for the day, it establishes a climate of trust, and it makes students feel significant. Also, in my ideal school curriculum, I would definitely make character education mandatory for all grades. And in doing that, I would require at least one class per week of character education. But, it can also be incorporated in morning meetings. Something that I found very useful in incorporating character education into my classroom, which is sixth grade, is called a video of the week. And what I do with this is on Monday, I assign a video which usually has to do with kindness or compassion, love, changing the world. And there's a focus question that after they watch the video, they need to blog about on our kid blog. And then they also need to respond to other students' answers on that blog as well. And then also with that, there is a task portion that has something to do with whatever video we were watching. And that task is, we've had things like be kind to 3 people, be someone's hero. And then on Friday, we come together in kind of like a morning meeting style, but it's not in the morning. And we sit in a circle and we discuss the focus question in the video and the different tasks that they did and how it made them feel. And I really feel like this is a very meaningful, authentic way to incorporate character education into the older grades. So that's something that I think that would be very useful for a lot of teachers. Technology education would be a huge thing in my ideal school, especially digital citizenship. So I think that it's so wonderful and amazing that schools are utilizing and incorporating all of the technology that society has to offer. But I really feel that the digital citizenship curriculum has not caught up, and it really needs to be integrated. And that's how to use technology and social media safely and appropriately. And that starts in kindergarten because we have kindergartners using iPads at school and at home. And, technology is just going to become more and more incorporated in schools as the years go on. So a digital citizenship curriculum very much needs to be integrated. Professional development for teachers in technology. And that's how to utilize technology to the best of its ability. It's been my experience that teachers have all of this amazing technology that they're able to use, but their biggest complaint is that they were never taught how to use it to the best of its ability. And so they just don't use it. And that's just a waste, honestly. So professional development for teachers on how to stay current with apps and resources, that should not be a once a year thing. That should be, and every time we have professional development, there's some kind of new technology development going on as well. All right, so let's talk about some real schools that are making all of these aspects work. Cheltenham High School, which is in Pennsylvania, it is incorporating a new project-based learning program that students can apply to. So they can either go to their regular high school or they can apply to have a project-based learning curriculum and go use that for their high school. Growth mindset. So growth mindset is, you can see that happening at Byron Community Primary School, and that's in Australia. And you can see their mission statement there. So how I came across this primary school was because my class does something called Mystery Skype. And this is where I touch base with other teachers and connect with other teachers who are in the Mystery Skype community, and they're from all over the country and all over the world. And we set up a time and a date for our classes to Skype, and our classes ask each other geographical questions in order to guess the location of where we are and where the other class is. And I mean, it's been incredible what we can really do with technology now, but it's such an amazing experience for the students because not only are they using geographical skills and map skills, but they also get to talk to a class from around the world and see what it's like to have the school and their life in another country or another state. But it's also great for me too because I get to see what schools are like around the world and what they're doing as well. So, Byron Community Primary School, we didn't do a mystery Skype with them because of the time difference, but we were a video pen pal. And something that they told us was that um, it's optional for them to wear shoes in school. And to my kids, that was very surprising, and to me too. But their mission statement has a lot to do with the growth mindset, and they have a really cool curriculum. New York State, I read something really cool. The National Council of Teachers of English, according to them, that New York is becoming the first state to make mental health education mandatory in all of their schools, and that's effective this year in July. And that's really, really awesome. And I really can't wait for Pennsylvania and other states to follow on board because that is an amazing thing that they're doing. So, creating my ideal school. As you heard me talking about the aspects that I would want in my ideal school, you heard me talk a lot about what I'm doing in my own school and my own classroom. And that's because I really feel that with receptive leadership, it's possible to create your own ideal school. As long as you have the drive and the resources available to you, you can make whatever you want happen. I am really lucky that I have a really receptive principal who fosters my ideas and my growth. But I just can't wait to make French Creek even more of a home than it already is. So, my ideal school will one day be a reality. Thanks for your time.